Hello. I want to ask you a question. Do you love having a breakfast food at lunchtime or dinner time as much as I do? I'm so happy to have pancakes for supper with piles of bacon or sliced ham. In fact, Maddie and John and Henry spent Saturday night with us. And Sunday morning I asked them what they wanted for breakfast, and they said pancakes, pancakes, pancakes. So I made them regular, just buttermilk pancakes, and then blueberry pancakes. And I used my biscuit mix to make these with. Well, your work was very short, Mikey.
I left my phone.
Oh. Well, you better be glad you remembered it, so if I need you.
It's actually a computer.
So anyway, I'm going to, so back to what I was saying before Michael interrupted us. I used my biscuit mix to make the pancakes with, and little Henry at the end of the meal said, Guinea, I sure do wish my mama could make pancakes like that. I said, I pulled out my box of biscuit mix and I said, well, here's your secret recipe. You can take that home and tell mommy she can make pancakes like Guinea. So we are pancake eaters around here. Now, and these, the recipe I'm sharing with you is chocolate chip pancakes with a cinnamon whipped cream topping for them. So I took 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and I added 1/4 cup of sugar, either powdered or white. Bye-bye, Mikey. See you tonight. And I added maybe half a teaspoon of cinnamon, but you can add to your taste for that. So I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator so it will stay nice and chilled. And in this bowl, I had 2 egg whites that I beat until they are stiff. And then I've got 2 egg yolks for the batter. So let's see what we're gonna do. We are gonna start with 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so we're just gonna mix that all up. This whisk almost acts as like a sifter. It's my first day with my new teeth, I think, Eddie. Alrighty, so I'm gonna add my milk slowly. Now, pancakes and waffles are just naturally gonna have some lumps, but it's okay. It's not like if you were making a regular cake. When you're baking like a pound cake or carrot cake, you don't want a bunch of lumps in your batter, but you can expect some lumps to be in your pancakes and waffles. All right, I'm gonna get me a knife because I don't want to goop up my fingers. So I'm just gonna run through there and see if I can get all the flour out of there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw in my egg yolks. Those up, and then I'm going to finish adding my milk. I sure would love to hear from y'all and let me know about what kind of pancakes you and your family like. I think personally my favorite pancake is banana. And all you have to do to make a banana pancake is when you ladle up the serving that you want of your batter, you just have your bananas already sliced, and you lay your bananas with as many as you want. You just cover the raw side of your pancake. And then when it's ready to flip over, those bananas are gonna get like so beautifully browned. It's just so, so good. Okay, so that's gonna finish our milk. And I've got 2 more things to add to it. 3 more things. I'm gonna add our melted butter. Uh-oh. I'm gonna hit this again. Just for a second, it got hard again in here because we got that air conditioner kicking. Okay, that didn't take but a second because it had already been melted before. Okay, let's see. The next thing I'm gonna add is those 2 egg whites that we beat until they were stiff. We're gonna fold those into our batter. So the recipe called for 2 eggs divided, but I mean, we're using the whole entire 2 eggs. So we just wanna fold that in, which is down, up, and over, down, up, and over, until our egg whites are incorporated nicely into our batter. And as I told y'all, I'm making chocolate chip pancakes. So right now, I don't see any chocolate chips. So I think that's all we need to finish our pancake batter up. And I think I'm using 1/3 of a cup of chocolate. A half a cup?
Of the mini ones, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see that's a half a cup now. And I like, for pancakes, I like using the little mini chips. So we're gonna fold those in, and I've had my cast iron pan over on the stove warming up. So now we're gonna finish folding, 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 folding. Okay, now I think it's pretty safe to give it a few stirs. All right, and I suggest to y'all to use a 1/4 of a cup of a measuring cup for your batter. So I'm just going to use a measuring cup. And let's see, 1/4 of a cup. That's 1/3 of a cup. 1/4 of a cup is hiding back here. So yes, that's 1/4 of a cup. All right, let's see. I think we've got everything. We've got our cinnamon cream in the refrigerator. All right, I'm melting my butter in my skillet that I've had preheating. And now I'm gonna use my measuring spoon that measures 1/4 of a cup. doggies. I wish y'all were here so I could talk to you and ask, like, what's your favorite syrup? Down south, cane syrup is crazy popular. And anybody that's lived near the country has probably seen the way cane syrup is made. You need your mule or a horse to turn that wheel, to grind that cane and cook that cane. All right, let's see, did I turn that down? Okay, I'm turning that back up a little bit. And I did spray this with some non-stick because I didn't want to run the risk of it sticking. I'll slide that over just a little bit like that. So you're probably going to need to turn after they've cooked a little while. Just turn them around because the inside is going to get brown quicker than the outside of your pan. So they're still not quite done enough for me to do too much moving. But when you see the top of your pancake covered with bubbles, that means it's time to flip them. So I don't see a lot of bubbles yet. Do you, Eddie? All right, so Eddie, I think it's time. Let's see what we got. All right, these two were the hot spots. And that was the first one that I dropped in the pan, and it's the lightest. When we get back in our house, so I'll have my griddle back, and I can lay out a bunch of pancakes. I could probably get one more in there, Eddie, but I don't want to overcrowd it. Don't want to overcrowd my pan because I want to be able to move them around without messing them up. Alrighty, let's see, where is our butter? That butter is for our frying pan right there. But I want some butter to melt in between our pancakes. Go ahead and put a little butter on them so I can stack them. Look at these pancakes, y'all. I don't care what time of day it is. Don't care what time. All right, now this is cane syrup right here, y'all. Wish we had a scratch and sniff. Oh, because that smells so good. Smell, Eddie. Smell. Oh.
I think it smells like molasses.
Chugga-lugga-lugga-lugga. It is so good. But I'm probably not going to use this today. And of course, I also love maple. A good maple syrup. I know I did a show one time where I got the sap from the trees. I was somewhere up in the New England states, and we put the pans out on the tree trunk. Eddie, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
And we got the sap and made the syrup. Now, because I'm not using my syrup, I'm not using it because I made a cinnamon cream sauce to go on top of our pancakes. So these are real hot, but I don't think this will take the skin off. They're pretty hot. You see that cream melting? Oh my gosh. Y'all know what this reminds me of? Does anybody know or care?
What's it remind you of?
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
There is some peanuts out there in the gallery. It reminds me of a chocolate croissant.
Ooh, yum.
Well, maybe one bite. Maybe just one bite with a little cane. When I first opened up the Lady and Sons downtown, you couldn't buy cane syrup from a food purveyor. So I kept doing my research, and I finally found an old farmer near Statesboro that still made the cane syrup, and he would bring it to me in 5-gallon buckets, and we put it on the table for our biscuits and hoe cakes. It's just a whole new level. Whole new level of taste and deliciousness. So I want to hear from you kids out there. Let me know. Let me know what your favorite is. Love and best dishes. Come taste them. They're so good. Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.